Good morning, students. Today we are going to study about sexual reproduction. Let us see the important points related to the topic. In sexual reproduction, two parents are involved. Unlike asexual reproduction where only one parent was involved, here we have two parents which are going to get involved. Two germ cells are involved. That is male gamete coming from male parent, which is also called as a sperm cell, and female gamete coming from female parent, which is also called as the egg cell. So gametes are going to be involved, and we can even call them as germ cells, and they are going to come from male and female parents. There are two important processes which take place during sexual reproduction. One of them is gamete formation, that is a formation of germ cells or gametes, that is male and female gametes, and the second is fertilization. So let us see what is gamete formation. It is a type of cell division leading to formation of gametes. So the gametes are going to be formed by meiosis. So meiosis, mitosis we have studied in the last chapter, and the gamete formation takes place by the process of meiosis, which is a reduction division. It is a process in which halving the number of chromosomes, that is 2n to n, takes place, forming haploid gametes. It occurs in reproductive cells. So this is a process of reduction division where we find that the number of chromosomes reduces from 2n to n, that is halving. Here we have 2n, here we have n. So the number of chromosomes have reduced to half. And we are going to get haploid cells over here. So it results in the formation of haploid cells with n number of chromosomes, that is half the number of the chromosomes present in the parent cell. So this is the first important step in sexual reproduction, that is formation of gametes by meiosis, that is reduction division. The second important step that takes place is fertilization. Fusion of male and female gamete resulting in the formation of diploid zygote is known as fertilization. Now, during fertilization, the male and the female gametes are going to fuse with one another. And when two haploid gametes fuse, it will result in the formation of a diploid zygote, because there are two cells which are having n number of chromosomes. So when two such cells are going to fuse, the chromosome number is going to become 2n, that is same as the parent cell. And so we are going to get a diploid zygote, and this process of fusion of male and female gamete forming a diploid zygote is called as fertilization. Zygote divides by mitosis and embryo is formed. Now the zygote that is formed undergoes repeated mitotic division and gets converted into a ball of cells, and it is called as the embryo. This embryo develops into a new individual. The new individual shows similarities to both parents due to recombination of genes and even has characters different than both parents. So we had studied during meiosis 1 that how the crossing over takes place and the recombination of genetic material takes place during prophase 1, and during the Pachytene phase this crossing over takes place and exchange of genetic material between the chromosomes occurs, and this results in the formation of a new individual which has got a lot of diversity and variety. And we also have studied the importance of diversity and variations. So the new offspring or the individual will be showing characteristics of both the parents, as well as it will have its own unique characteristics also. So these are the two important processes that take place during sexual reproduction, that is gamete formation and fertilization. Now this is just for your revision. what meiosis was, we have a diploid parent cell, and it undergoes meiosis 1, during which we find that the genetic material increases, crossing over takes place, and it gives rise to 2 cells. These 2 cells undergo meiosis 2, and in turn they give rise to 4 haploid cells. Now these haploid cells are containing half the number of chromosomes as compared to the parent cell. So here we have 2n number of chromosomes in the parent cell, but each of these daughter cells, now they contain n number of chromosomes. That is half the number of chromosomes as compared to the parent cell, and hence it is called as haploid. We are going to study first sexual reproduction in plants, how plants are going to show sexual reproduction, and what are the various parts of a plant which are involved in the process of sexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction in plants, flower is the functional unit concerned with sexual reproduction. So flower is the part of the plant which is involved in sexual reproduction. So it is a functional unit. It is the place where the fertilization is going to take place and a seed is going to be formed. This seed will be the future plant. So a flower has got 4 floral whorls. Now what are these 4 floral whorls? The first 2, calyx and corolla. So these are the first 2 floral whorls. They are called outer accessory whorls. They are present on the outer surface, and their function is protection of the inner whorls. So calyx is green in color. It is also called as sepals, and it is green in color, and it is going to just protect the inner whorls. Corolla, it is also called as petals. They are multicolored, and they are colored in order to attract the insects for pollination. So we have these 2 as the first 2 whorls. The other 2 whorls are androecium, and it is also called as the stamen. Now this stamen comprises of anther and filament. The last whorl is gynoecium, and it is also called as the carpel. The carpel is comprising of stigma, style and ovary. So we have got 4 whorls, that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So we have 4 whorls. Now androecium and gynoecium are called as essential whorls because they are the ones which are actually going to take part in the process of sexual reproduction. So they are the essential whorls. Now we have 2 types of flowers. One of the type is called bisexual flower. Bisexual, that is both whorls, that is androecium and gynoecium, are in the same flower. Both androecium, that is the male reproductive part, and gynoecium, that is the female reproductive part. So both of them are present in the same flower, and hence we call them as bisexual flowers. Examples are hibiscus, which is one of the most common flower, lily, rose, sunflower and mango. All these are examples of bisexual flowers where we find that the both male and female reproductive parts are present in the same flower. Then we have unisexual flowers. Those only one of the whorls, that is androecium or gynoecium, are present. So here we will be having separate plants, that is male and female plants will be different, and they will be bearing their respective flowers. So only one of the whorls, that is androecium, will be present in the male flowers and gynoecium will be present in the female flowers. So therefore they are called as unisexual flowers. Plants are going to be different, male and female. Examples: papaya, cucumber, watermelon, bitter gourd and pumpkin. So these are the examples of the plants where we find that the male and the female whorls, that is androecium and gynoecium, are going to be present on different plants. So this is in general the information about a flower, and 1 or 2 marks question can be asked on this. That is, what is Androecium, Gynoecium, what are they comprised of, what are the 2 types of flowers, and even examples are important. You can be asked regarding bisexual and unisexual flowers in odd man out. So you must be able to make out that which plant produces uh, unisexual flowers and those which are bearing bisexual flowers.